if there's anything we can all agree on, it's that psychokinetic abilities are awesome, and what better way to show these powers than with teenagers? Today we'll be pitting Nintendo and Sega's two psychokinetics against each other in the arena. Ness, the PSI powerhouse, and Silver, the psychokinetic hedgehog. I'm your Guardian Omega, and it's my job to analyze these characters inside and out to solve this debate. Who would win in a show of fictional fury? In the town named Onnit, located in the country of Eagleland, lived a 13-year-old kid named Ness. Ness spent his days like any normal kid would, playing baseball, hanging out with his friends, etc. However, it all quickly changed when the alien known as Gygas arrived, plotting to shroud the universe in an infinite darkness. On the same night of the invasion, Ness woke up to a meteor striking the town. Instead of letting the adults handle it like any normal kid would, he decided to check it out while helping Pokey find his brother, who just so happened to be where the meteor landed. It was then where Ness met an alien bee called Buzz, who warned him of Gygas' plans. Ness decided to go make sure that didn't happen by going on an adventure to stop Gygas once and for all. Surprisingly, his mother was perfectly fine with this. 10 out of 10 parenting skills. Parents of the War 2017. Everyone, let's give a hand for Ness's mother. Anyway, you may be asking yourself, what kind of weapons does he use? Well, he has a baseball bat. While it may seem weak, this baseball bat can reflect projectiles back at the center. Ness also has a yo-yo, which gives him extra range. That's not all though, as Ness also possesses really cool abilities called PSI, which is short for psychokinesis. Ness can also teleport, but doing so requires him to run really quickly in a straight line. But while running, Ness does catch on fire, so it's not a stretch to say that Ness can go up to Mach 5 speeds while running. But enough about that. Let's move on to his PSI. The PSI Flash is a ball of electricity that Ness can have explode at will. This attack can instantly kill a foe, but however, that's a very rare occurrence. The PSI Freeze is identical to the PSI Flash, except that Freeze is the unlucky victim solid in a block of ice. Ness can set things on fire with a bolt of lightning called the PSI Fire. He can also send out the PSI Thunder, which is a ball of electricity that Ness can redirect into himself to send himself flying towards his foes like a human projectile. But then there's his two most devastating attacks, the PSI Rockin' and PSI Starstorm. PSI Rockin' has Ness use his concentration to create a massive explosion, inflicting huge amounts of damage to anyone caught within the blast. And finally, PSI Starstorm is when Ness summons a storm of falling stars to rain down at his foes. For a kid his age, Ness has accomplished some pretty amazing things. He took down 4 of Onnit's best policemen and their boss. He was strong enough to defeat a dog made out of diamonds. He defeated a volcano-sized kraken, and most impressively, he was able to defeat Gygas, with the help of the 8 melodies by the way, after becoming one with the universe. Ness does have limits though. He can't use his PSI attacks forever, and the more powerful the PSI attack, the more it drains him with his PSI abilities. Ness can also become homesick, weakening his performance in battle. He's also mostly a team player, although he can hold his own if needed. It just goes to show that if you stand in Ness's way, you may just find yourself on the receiving end of a PSI fire. What do you imagine the future would be like? Probably the opposite of what you were thinking is a world ruined by fire and devastation. Devastation and chaos imminent, it appears as if there is no hope left. This was the future that Silver the Hedgehog was born into. Silver, sick of the devastation and constantly fighting off Iblis, was desperate for a way to create a better future. Enter Mephiles the Dark, a totally not Shadow the Hedgehog recolor, capable of time travel. Mephiles informed Silver that to save the future, he had to go back in time and kill the Iblis Trigger, who was in fact Sonic the Hedgehog, or at least that's what Mephiles told him. Silver later realized that Mephiles had fooled him, so he teamed up with Sonic and friends to make sure that Mephiles did not merge with Solaris. Iblis. Silver's main ability is his psychokinesis, which is basically telekinesis, but more. With his psychokinesis, he can grab and throw objects many times the size, reflect projectiles, or grab all the wreckage in the area and compress it into a giant ball to smash down into his opponents in an attack called the Meteor Smash. Silver's psychokinesis is very powerful, as it can casually bend half-meter thick steel bars, crush robots with a single grab, throw objects with enough force to crush metal, and it lets them fly up speeds up to Mach 2. Silver can also use his psychokinesis to create psychic knives, energy pulses, and have ESP. He can also teleport too. He can also perform the spin dash if he needs to, along with the homing attack. And when Silver finds him backed into a corner, he has one final resort, the Super Silver form. In this form, Silver is granted a 1000% power increase in all stats. He's granted automatic flight, stronger psychokinesis, and is completely invincible. While this form does have a time limit, that has been proven to be a game mechanic, as shown in Sonic Advance. Characters can maintain their super forms for multiple days on end. Silver has accomplished several amazing things. As stated before, he can casually bend metal. Silver is fast enough to catch bullets and missiles, strong and skilled enough to casually defeat Iblis on a near daily basis and fight on par with the likes of Sonic and Shadow, durable enough to take hits from Sonic, slid on the ground for long distances with no harm, and can survive being crushed under several tons of debris. Silver's Super State can also take hits from the universe-busting Solaris, and could completely beat him with the help of Sonic and Shadow. However, Silver is not unbeatable. He's naive and arrogant, and is insecure on his own. Even with his flaws, Silver is a very tough nut to crack. Alright, both characters' skills, arsenal, and powers have been analyzed. Let's see who comes out in a show of Fictional Fury. Wow, talk about intense! We're already on episode 1, and we already had a very, very close match. In base form, Silver stood no chance against Ness, being outclassed in almost every category other than intelligence, reaction speed, and experience. However, Silver's super form quickly evened the odds. Sure, Ness may be universal in attack potency, while Silver at his absolute best is solar system level, but Silver still takes every other category in his super form. Ness may be universal, but what good are those universe-busting projectiles when your opponent is fast enough to catch them and redirect them back at you? And while Ness's PSI Flash could have killed Silver, this is incredibly unlikely for 2 reasons. 1, its chance of one-shotting the opponent is very, very rare in the first place. And 2, Silver can always just send the attack back at Ness. Don't forget that Silver also has ESP, which let him get the knowledge that he needed on all of Ness's attacks. So, with Ness's last trump card out of commission, Silver took the win. Looks like this is more than just a dream. It was an absolution. The winner is Silver the Hedgehog. Next time on Fictional Fury.
Scorpion wins. Fatality.